The Conciliatory Resolution was a resolution passed by the British Parliament in an attempt to reach a peaceful settlement with the 13 colonies. Immediately prior to the outbreak of the American Revolutionary War, in January 1775, Parliament considered petitions from the colonies in relation to the coercive acts, including a petition to the King from the First Continental Congress, and discussed ways to resolve the crisis with the 13 colonies. A proposal by William Pitt to recognize colonial self-government was rejected by the House of Lords. Pitt then moved for the withdrawal of troops from Boston, but that motion was defeated. In February, Pitt presented a plan of conciliation based upon mutual concessions, but this was also rejected. On February 2, despite fierce opposition from some members of Parliament, New England was declared to be in rebellion. Lord North took the unexpected role of conciliator for the drafting of a conciliatory resolution which was proposed on February 20, 1775 and dated on February 27. The Conciliatory Resolution declared that any colony that contributed to the common defense and provided support for the civil government and the administration of justice would be relieved of paying taxes or duties except those necessary for the regulation of commerce. The resolution was addressed and sent to the individual colonies, and intentionally ignored the extra-legal Continental Congress. By doing this, Lord North hoped to divide the colonists amongst themselves and thus weaken any revolution, independence movements. The resolution proved to be too little, too late, and the American Revolutionary War began at Lexington on April 19, 1775. Receipt and rejection by Congress. The Continental Congress did eventually receive the Conciliatory Resolution in the form of a communication from the Assembly of New Jersey on May 26, 1775, and, perhaps for a number of reasons, released a report, dated July 31, 1775, rejecting it. The Congress took the said resolution into consideration, and are, thereupon, of opinion that colonies of America are entitled to the sole and exclusive privilege of giving and granting their own money, to propose, therefore, as this resolution does, that the moneys given by the colonies shall be subject to the disposal of Parliament alone, is to propose that they shall relinquish this right of inquiry, and put it in the power of others to render their gifts ruinous, in proportion as they are liberal. The proposition seems also to have been calculated more particularly to lull into fatal security our well-affected fellow subjects on the other side the water, till time should be given for the operation of those arms, which a British minister pronounced would instantaneously reduce the cowardly sons of America to unreserved submission. But, when the world reflects how inadequate to justice are these vaunted terms, when it attends to the rapid and bold succession of injuries, which, during the course of 11 years, have been aimed at these colonies, when it reviews the pacific and respectful expostulations, which, during that whole time, were the sole arms we opposed to them, when it observes that our complaints were either not heard at all, or were answered with new and accumulated injuries, when it recollects that the minister himself, on an early occasion, declared that he would never treat with America till he had brought her to his feet, and that an avowed partisan of ministry has more lately denounced against us the dreadful sentence, Delenda est Carthago, that this was done in presence of a British Senate and being unreproved by them, must be taken to be their own sentiment, when it considers the great armaments with which they have invaded us, and the circumstances of cruelty with which these have commenced and prosecuted hostilities. When these things, we say, are laid together and attentively considered, can the world be deceived into an opinion that we are unreasonable, or can it hesitate to believe with us that nothing but our own exertions may defeat the ministerial sentence of death or abject submission? Full text of the resolution. Resolved, that it is the opinion of this committee, that whether Governor, Council, and Assembly, or General Court, of any of His Majesty's provinces or colonies in America, shall propose to make provision, according to the condition, circumstances, and situation of such province or colony, for contributing their proportion to the common defense, and shall engage to make provision also for the support of the civil government, and the administration of justice, in such province or colony. It will be proper if such proposal shall be approved by His Majesty and the two Houses of Parliament, and for so long as such provision shall be made accordingly, to forbear, in respect of such province or colony, to levy any duty, tax, or assessment, or to impose any farther duty, tax, or assessment, except only such duties as it may be expedient to continue to levy or to impose for the regulation of commerce, the net produce of the duties last mentioned to be carried to the account of such province or colony respectively.